In Masechet Yoma Daf 84, we're talking about different diseases and medications, not only Yom Kippur, but also Shabbat. And just to remind ourselves, the Mishnah mentioned bulmus that we talked about. Of course, everyone agrees you can feed that person, even non-kosher food. And then we talked about someone who gets bitten by a dog, wild or rabid dog. And this was a machloket. Rabbi Matya Ben Hadash said, you're allowed to feed him the lobe of the liver of the dog, even though it's not kosher. And the Chachamim disagreed. They are stringent. They said this doesn't work. Okay, that's what we're going to start off with. But then there is a third case we're also going to deal with today, which is someone who has some kind of throat disease, and you're allowed to give him medication on Shabbat. This is said by Rabbi Matya Ben Hadash, the same person who was lenient in the second case. And here, there's no disagreement recorded. So it's really not clear from the Mishnah if that's only his opinion. After all, he's the author. He's the only one that says it. But it doesn't say Chachamim disagree. So I'm just pointing that out here so we can have that in mind when the Gemara does discuss that case. But we start off with the wild dog. And first, some indications. If you see a dog on the street, how do you know if it's wild or not? So this could come in handy. There are 5 signs of a wild dog. Piv patuach vediro notef. His mouth is open, saliva dripping from it. That's scary. Oznav siduchot. His ears are floppy. Uznavo munach al yerechav. And his tail is resting on its legs. It seems like it's like partially paralyzed, but also wild. Maybe they go together. It's sick, something wrong with it. And walking on the side, kind of haunting the people that are passing by. Some say it barks and this voice is not heard. So there's really something wrong with it. Okay, what causes a dog to become wild like this? Two opinions. There are women that are doing sorcery and putting spells on it and causing this to happen. Sounds like Harry Potter when they're playing Quidditch, and they do sorcery to make the guy lose. Others say, no, it's not. It's just evil spirits that are just around, and a demon comes and possesses it. My benayo, what's the practical difference between them? There is. Regarding if you want to kill this dog, it's a good idea to put it down because it is dangerous. According to Shemuel, that's an evil spirit. You don't want to get too close to it because then it could harm you. So you want to try to kill it with something that you throw at it and not from nearby.
Evil spirit or because he's dangerous?
Because the evil spirit might jump onto you even if you can catch it. So you want to be far away from that evil spirit. Okay, so look, we could call it, same thing. It's deranged in its mind, so it's like evil spirit. So whatever you call it, it's you got to keep away from it. Tanya kevate dishmoel. There is a baraita that supports Shemuel that you should kill from far away. You should throw something at it from far away. The baraita goes on and says, even if you just rub the dog, you touch it, that already causes danger. If he bites a person, that person will die. So maybe it's rabies or something similar. So what if a dog does rub against you? What should you do? What's the remedy? You should take off your clothes and run. Okay. This is a story that happened. Yoshua was rubbed by one of these mad dogs. He looked at it. He saw the signs. He said, "This is not good. I may become ill." He took off his clothes and ran away. Amar, this pasuk we saw earlier, right, from Kohelet, that wisdom has saved my life. We saw it earlier in the story where the guy eats dates on the east side of the tree, right? So it's good to know some wisdom. Okay, I don't know how this works exactly, but maybe the dog smells the clothing, right? So you take off your clothes and leave it, let it go intact, and you run away, right? You can get away that way. Okay, the nachit lemayit. Now, if someone is bitten by it, you can die. So ma'itakante. How do you what's the remedy for that? Amar Abaye netem mashcha de apa de dichra. Bring skin of a male hyena. V'nichtub aleh, and write on the skin, ana pelania, bar pelanita. You write me, I'm the son of, you write your mother's name. In spells, you often, you usually, in fact, write if you want to identify yourself in a spell, you write your mother's name. I don't know if that has to do with that. We use our mother's name for refuah shalema even today, even though we don't use it for other things. I don't know if it's related, but it's interesting, right? Yeah, but if it's that, then we should use it for everything. When you go up to Sefer Torah, when you donate, when you memorialize someone. So we don't, we use different things. So how come? Okay. Amashka de apa dichra kateb na'alach kanti kilirus. And so you write on it, I am about to write, I'm writing upon you the skin of a male hyena, and you write these words, kanti kalirus. These don't seem to mean anything, at least nothing we can recognize. It's a spell. Spells just work. You don't have to, doesn't actually have to mean anything. It might be related to something, and maybe in Greek. Rila kandi keloros. Others say kandi. You see that they don't really know what it means. Like, I don't know if it's if you say with a taf, with a dalid, just kind of remember how it sounds. Ya Hashem Sebaot. Amen. Amen. Selah. Okay, you can imagine Rambam, saying, I don't know about this one. This is not gonna. This is already. This. I don't think this has a medical explanation for how this works. So, okay. So there are some magic formulas in the Talmud. By the way, more in the Bavli than in the Yerushalmi, because in the Bavli, the Persians were very into sorcery, demons, demonology, even more than in the Roman Empire. Okay. Take off your clothes and bury them in a cemetery for 12 months. Then after 12 months, take them out, burn them in an oven. And scatter the ashes in the crossroad. You want to really get rid of this totally. This is like really biur chametz. And for the next 12 months, when you drink water, you should use a straw made out of copper. The point doesn't actually have to be made out of copper. The point is, don't look at water, because you might, in the reflection, see the demon might still be around and spook you. So dima haze babua deshida velistaken. Kihada bar marta is not theoretical. Here's one rabbi that actually happened. Did this. Hu Abba bar Yomi, he has two names. Abdale ime gupta de dahaba. His mother made him a golden tube, so it doesn't have to be copper. The point is, use a straw. Doesn't matter what it's made out of, so that you don't see the water. All right, that's the end of the wild dogs. And now we get to the next disease. Ve'od amar Rabbi Matya Rabbi Yochanan hash bisfidna. Rabbi Yochanan once had this disease called sfidna, which affects the teeth and gums, and then it goes down to the intestines. It is life-threatening. Azal Gabadehi Matronita. He went to this Roman woman. She must have known some home remedies. So she made a concoction for him, and he took it on Thursday and on Friday. Amar la b'Shabbat mai. What should I do on Shabbat? I can't come here. I can't and get it from you on Shabbat. Amar la sirichat. You're not going to need it. That's it. 2 days. You're going to be okay. What if I need it? You're always worried before Shabbat. You want to have the medication just in case. Okay, I'll tell you the secret formula. If you swear that you won't tell anybody else. So he swore to the God of Israel, I will not reveal it. And so what did he do the next day? He went, he gave the public derasha to thousands of people, and he told everybody the secret formula. The pirka is the official lecture of the rabbi that everybody comes to. So he didn't just tell it to one person. Okay, what do you mean? He just swore to the Roman woman that he would keep it a secret. Yeah, but depends where you put the comma. He said, I swear to the God of Israel, I will not reveal it. Meaning, I will not reveal it to the God of Israel. Right? But I didn't say I'm not telling anybody else. I didn't tell God. I told his nation. So if you put the comma, I didn't swear to the God of Israel. I swore I won't reveal it to the God of Israel. Okay. Okay, fine. So he got out of the swear, he got out on the technicality, but she doesn't know that. She says, look at these Jews. They swear and then they don't care, they undo it. The Megale la Meikara. No, he told her. He says, listen, after she said the secret formula, listen, when I swore, I used the trick. So I'm going to announce it tomorrow. So that way she might be upset, but she wouldn't suspect him of going over, of violating a swear. And the Talmud Yerushalmi has the same story. And over there is two different opinions. Either she committed suicide, maybe this is like her whole livelihood, she made out of this, or she converted to Judaism. She was so impressed that Rabbi Yochanan gave away the formula, not for money. He didn't take money for himself. Everybody should be able to benefit from it. So she was actually impressed by it. All right. Anyway, my Abdaleh, what's the secret formula? Now we want to know. You take leaven and you put it in, soak it in water. Take out the leaven, so this leaven water, and you put olive oil and salt. That's one opinion. No, you leave the seor, the sourdough, with oil and salt. You take fat from a goose's wing. Okay, very different from the others. Abaye says, I heard all three. I didn't know which one, so I did all three of them. And I didn't get better. So, but I saw an Arab, and he told me another one. Take an olive that is less than a third ripe. Take a new hoe and burn the olives on the new hoe. And put them on the front, on one row of your gums. He did that, and sure enough, he got better. Okay, good. Thank you for the Arab. By the way, when you think of an Arab here, this is written before Islam was invented, right? So this is Arab means Bedouin people that lived in the area, and they had these old traditions, medical remedies. Okay, Mimai Hava. How do you get this disease? What causes it? From eating wheat bread that's very hot. Or fish remains fried in oil, spoiled. Okay. And what are the symptoms? When you put something between your teeth, blood comes out from one's gums. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan ki hash besfidna abad hachi beshabeta. Rabbi Yochanan had this disease. We just saw him above. And he made the medication on Shabbat, which, as we saw, and sure enough, yes, he got better. So, question: how could he violate Shabbat? Well, his gums are bleeding. So what? That's not life-threatening, right? So go to the dentist on Sunday. No, this sefidna, it starts off your gums bleeding, but then it goes down to one's intestines, and it is in fact life-threatening. So take care of it right away. Don't wait till it gets worse. We're going to see that principle later, that you don't wait till it gets worse. If something is life-threatening, even if it'll take a few days, you take care of it right away, even on Shabbat. Another challenge to Rabbi Yochanan, right? Poor guy Rabbi Yochanan, he's trying to get better, and we keep challenging him for taking this medication. He says, who are you following? In the Mishnah, this is the opinion of Rabbi Matya ben Hadash, the single opinion, who says it's permitted if you have some kind of this mouth disease, referring to this, that you can prepare and take the medication on Shabbat. Why are you following him? Chachamim, maybe they disagree. It doesn't. The Chachamim don't say, right? We don't know. So I think that Chachamim disagreed with Rabbi Matya only regarding the dog that are eating the liver, but they don't disagree regarding this. Meaning they agree. Yes, the Sam, even though he introduced that opinion, the rabbis did not dispute it. So he's following the majority. Now we're going to try to prove that, in fact, this is the case, that the Chachamim agree with Rabbi Matya that you can take medication for this mouth disease. Misha hazo yerakon. Okay, another disease, yerakon, something that may make someone yellow. Some people think it's hepatitis. What was it? Hepatitis C? That was it. Amachilin oto besar hamor. We can give him donkey meat, which is not kosher. Mishin neshacho keleb shoteh, machilin oto mechasar kabed shelo. Good. The dog, we give him a piece of the liver. Hachoshesh befiv matilin lo sam b'shabbat. That's the one that Rabbi Yochanan took. Mouth disease, he can take the medication on Shabbat. Ben Chadash. All those three are the Bimatya's opinions. Chachamim omerim be'elu and bahem mishum refuah. Be'elu lemeote mai, my love lemeote sam. So he says, Chachamim say, we disagree regarding these. But these sounds like some of these, right? Not all of them. So what is it limited to? So maybe he agrees regarding the medication on Shabbat. And so you see, that's what Rabbi Yochanan says, right? It's true. Rabbi Matya says it's allowed, but Chamim also say it's allowed. They only disagreed with the others on the list. Now, lo ala lemeote mazikin lemeote makizin dam lesirun. No, maybe what they're excluding is something else, not on this list. Bloodletting for this serun chi disease. Some people say this is diphtheria. Okay, in other words, that's the thing that they said, yeah, you can do that on Shabbat.
That's not even listed in the list.
Right, that's the point. We agree. We all the things on your list are no good. We think, but there's something else that we would agree with you, not on the list, right? And so this actually would be against Rabbi Yochanan, right? That the sum for the mouth would not be good. And this makes sense that Tanya Shelosha Devarim Amar Rabbi Ishmael ben Rabbi Yoseh Sheshama Mishum Rabbi Matya ben Charash. Okay, the following three also in the name of the same Rabbi Matya. Makizin dam lesrun chi b'Shabbat. That's the one that we just mentioned, the diphtheria. That's on every list, the dog's liver. And the one, the mouth disease. Rabbi Matya says all three are okay. These are not good for, there's no medical value of these. By the, if you remember at Rambam, we talked about, right? If there's no medical value, it's not allowed. From there, we learned that if there is medical value, even if it looks like it came from sorcery or idolatry or something strange, if you could prove there's medical value, then it's okay, right? That's where Rambam gets the principle. Okay. Anyway, says these are no good. Maybe talking about the last two on the list, including the medication for the mouth, and they said those two no good. But the first one on the list they agree with, right? The first one that doing bloodletting. Maybe you can read it that way, and therefore they disagree regarding the mouth disease. No, maybe they disagree regarding the first two, but they agree on the last one, which is the mouth disease. So according to this, Rabbi Yochanan's okay. It's allowed even the taking the medication on Shabbat for the mouth disease is allowed even according to Chachamim. Okay, so we have a lot of different traditions of Rabbi Matya, and it's not clear from, this one is inconclusive totally. You could read it, they're talking about the first two or the last two, so really have no idea. But now we're going to bring two more proofs for Rabbi Yochanan that in fact, everyone agrees that the mouth disease medication is permitted. So here's number one, Tashema de Tanera Babar Shemuel Ubara Shehericha Machlin Ota'ad Shetashubda Nafsha. Number one is a pregnant woman who craves food, give her whatever you want. Two, Misha Neshaho Keleb Shote Machlin Oto Mechsar Kabed Shelo, the dog's liver. Three, Hachoshesh Befiv Matilin Nosam Beshabbat. That's Rabbi Yochanan's case. There's a lot of people, why are they quoting it in the name of Rabbi Matya? Anyway, Rabbi Matya agrees those three, says those three are permitted. Hachamim omerim, bezo velo be'acheret. Yes, these, but not something else. Bezo ahaya, which one does he agree with and which not? If he's saying he agrees on the pregnant woman, of course, everybody agrees that you give pregnant woman. Does anyone disagree? Must be the one that they agree with is the medication for the throat, because obviously he doesn't agree with they don't agree with the dog's liver. It says in the Mishnah explicitly that they disagree with that. So this has to be the one that they agree with. Okay, so the Rabbi Yochanan is all right. And last proof, Rav Ashi Amar, matnitina medaika. Look in the language of our Mishnah, the original Mishnah. Ve'od Amar Rabbi Matya ben Harash, HaChoshesh befiv matilin lo sam beShabbat. This is after the disagreement about the dog's liver. Then it says, furthermore, to be Matya said, you can take the medication for the mouth disease. The rabbis don't disagree with it. And if they did disagree, the then they should have put the dog's liver together with this medication. The Bir Matya says okay, and then the Banan disagree with both. But from the fact that it separates it out as a separate clause, means that the rabbis, in fact, agree that it's permitted. Okay, good. So Rabbi Yochanan justified himself, and everybody's happy. Now, next, the Mishnah then says, gives a reason. Mipnei sefek nefashot and sefek nefashot, even a doubt about a life-threatening disease is permitted. So why do you have to add that principle? I mean, it's obvious from the examples. I mean, you said it already, because it's nefashot nefashot. And then you go and add, because all cases, you're generalizing it. So what kind of cases are coming to include? Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, lo safek Shabbat zo bilbad ameru el hafilu safek Shabbat acheret. To teach you that not only are you allowed to violate one Shabbat, even two Shabbatot. For example, the doctors came and said, you're going to have to take this medication for 8 days. Happens to be, they tell him on Shabbat. That's the first day. You might have thought, maybe he has to wait till tomorrow. Take it on Sunday, and that way you'll only violate one Shabbat, right? Instead of starting on Shabbat, and the 8th day is another Shabbat, then you're going to violate 2 Shabbats. Maybe you should minimize it. So that's why the Mishnah goes out of its way and say, any safek nefashot, doche Shabbat, don't worry about it. Even if you're not going to die today, right? Just the fact that you have a life-threatening disease, start immediately. Tanyana mehachi, Baraita says the same thing. Mehamin, Shabbat ben ashkoto ben lahabroto. You're allowed to heat up water for a sick person. Either he needs to drink it or to wash. Not only for one Shabbat, even for the next Shabbat. Don't say, oh, maybe he's all right now. He's not dead yet, right? He can make it till Saturday night. No. You heat it up right away. In other words, even though it's a disease that may take many days until the person actually gets worse, sometimes a person gets a bad cut or something. Okay, you don't have to, he's not going to die on Shabbat, but he'll get infected. If you leave it like that long enough, right, it will be life-threatening. So you don't have to wait till next Shabbat. You could do it right away. And if you see someone who needs help on Shabbat, you don't go and get a goy to do it. Now, kutim, some people change the word kutim here to ketanim. Kutim, Samaritans, is a machloket, whether they actually are Jewish because they converted because they were afraid of the lions, or maybe it's a good conversion, maybe they're not a good conversion. But anyway, they keep Shabbat. So better to put here ketanim, because kutim are going to come up again in the next clause. So you don't find someone who doesn't have to keep Shabbat, meaning a goy or a katan, and say, hey, why don't you kol hatzalah? Why don't you go and apply this medication? Rather, you get Gedolei Yisrael. Why? Because it's permitted. It's a mitzvah. You're not doing anything wrong. And if people see that the rabbi tried not to do it, he told someone else to do it, they're going to think that's really not allowed. And next time, when there's no child or no goy around, they're going to say, oh, sorry, we don't want to violate Shabbat. No. The rabbi should go and violate Shabbat in order to save the person. And furthermore, you also don't say it should be done by nashim, and here kutiyim. So here it makes more sense. Kutiyim, who should be keeping Shabbat, but maybe they're on a lower level, they don't know. No, you don't even do that. Other people see lo al pi is asking their advice, but their advice should be fine if they're knowledgeable in this thing and they say this is dangerous, right? There's no reason not to. So I'm following. There's many different opinions here of this, but I think the symbol says Rambam. That just adds more to the list, right? And also nashim and kutiyim. But they can join in with an opinion to say that this is life-threatening or not life-threatening, and so you trust their opinion as well. Okay, good. תנו רבנן, מפקחין פיקוח נפש בשבת, והזריז הרי זה משובח. You should save a life on Shabbat, and if you do it quickly, the more quickly the better. Don't be sluggish about it. Say, oh, I don't want to violate Shabbat. Don't go ask Bet Din and waste an hour. Just save it right away. You don't even have to ask. Right? Kid fell into the ocean. You go and get a net, fisherman's net, and save his life right away. And again, we repeat, right? Don't ask. Just do it. And even though while you're doing that, you're going to catch some fish. I was like, oh, hey, look what else I caught, right? Happened to save the life, and I got this fluke. Okay, we'll eat it tonight. All right, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Right? You did a good thing. A child falls into a pit, then you can dig around the pit, dig a step in order to be able to get him out. Repeat the same thing. Even though you're making a step, you're building, oh, this is going to be useful. I'm going to use it tomorrow. I want to leave it here. Don't worry about it. Even if there is a side benefit, still permitted. A kid got locked in behind the door. Now, this could be life-threatening. The kid's afraid, and they can't get food. So you could break down the door and save the child. Do it right away. Don't ask. Even though while you're breaking the door, you say, this would make good firewood. Let me make it this size, to fit into my fireplace. And so you have in mind something positive. It's okay, right? Still do it. If there's a fire, you can put a barrier. Sometimes they will put jugs of water, and then when the fire came to it, it would break the jug and the water would spill on it and put it out. And even though he's making coals, these things that are burnt, he could use them after Shabbat as coals, as fire starter. Nevertheless, even though it's a positive thing, you can do it on Shabbat to stop the fire. Okay, so now we have all these cases, and we're wondering, it's a lot of different cases. Why do you need all of them? Just give me one example. If I just said the ocean, I'll say, oh, the ocean, that's a real emergency, right? If you waste time, the ocean's going to take him out. Oh, I asked the Bet Din. All right, now I can save you. Okay, the kid's going to be drowned already. But if he's in a cistern, okay, he's not going anywhere. He'll be okay. I can go come back an hour later. So I might think I don't have to save him quickly. No, that's why he comes to teach me. Do it quickly. If you say, okay, the pit is very scared in there, right? It might harm the child. You might have PTSD from this. But if he's stuck behind the door, so you could be on the other side of the door and you play with nuts, you tell him stories, tell him jokes, keep him occupied, and he won't be so scared. Therefore, it teaches that case, even that case. Save him quickly. Don't delay. And distinguishing a fire. Lamali, what do I have to distinguish the fire? Assuming everybody's out of the house. So let the house burn down, right? Why do I have to put a line? Okay, because it's going to go to the next guy's courtyard. It's going to burn his house down, right? Anytime there's a fire, you don't say, there's nobody there. Put it out, fire is spread, and they can be sakanat nefashot eventually. All right, now the last halacha for today. Amar Rav Yosef, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shemuel. This is Shemuel's thesis. Lo halchu bepikuach nefesh achad harov. When you were regarding pikuach nefesh, we said safek. Usually safek, you say, you go the majority. If you have 10 pieces of meat, right, you go by the majority. If 9 are kosher, you could eat all of them, assuming that you find them in the middle of the street. So he says, that's true regarding other things, but pikuach nefesh, you don't go by the majority. Even if it's a small chance, Even if it's a small chance that you can save someone, you still do it, right? There's only 1% chance that this thing is going to work. Still do it. What's an example? Let's say a building falls on people. There are 9 Jews and 1 non-Jew there. So again, if you remember yesterday, we gave a insufficient explanation. This is not this is not meant to be racist. The point is, if you remember, right, Shabbat trumps all life. In fact, we only save a Jew because they will keep more Shabbatot. Okay, this is only theoretical. In practice, obviously, we would save anybody. Okay, but so you have 9 and 1 non-Jew there. Ruba Yisrael, then that's majority Jewish. Of course, everybody would agree that's the majority. So he's not talking about that case. Ela palga palga safek nevashot lakel. If it's 5 and 5, then that's safek. Okay, safek nevashot lakel. We're gonna. So that, of course, he would agree. So that he's not talking about that case either. Oh, there's 9 non-Jews and 1 Jew, and we don't know. That's what they live there. We don't know if everybody's there. We don't know who's there. So there's only 1 out of 10 chance that there's a Jew that's under there. Nevertheless, we save him. That's what Shemuel meant. We say no. That's also pashut. Haname peshita. Why? That is in a fixed location. If you remember, we had a case. If there's 9 stores that are kosher and 1 non-kosher, right? And I went into one of the stores. I don't remember which store I went into. In that case, I cannot eat the meat. I treat it as 50-50 because I went into a store. That store itself, I'm not sure if it's kosher or non-kosher, and I don't count up the stores because they're permanent spots. That's called kavua. However, if it left the store and I find in the middle of the street a piece of meat and the majority of the stores are kosher and one's not kosher, then I can eat it because it left one of the stores. So the chances are it left the store that's kosher. Right? That's a distinction in the cases of safek. So if you're talking about a building and the people live in that building, that's kavua. So in that case, even 9 and 1 is like 50-50. So Shemuel, that's no chidush, obviously, right? I don't need him to tell me that. Must be that the resident is 9 non-Jewish residents and only 1 Jew in this building. But then they left and went to the store. And in the store fell down. And now we don't know who's there. That's where he said, even though it left, it's parush, and you might go by the majority of 9 non-Jews, nevertheless, don't go by the majority for Savek Nefashot and save them anyway. And when they left, in all cases. So that means...
But still, if you're building and there's 10 people living in the building and 9 are not Jewish and 1 is Jewish...
You still save them because that's kavua. And kavua is like mechsa or mechsa. In other words, that's pashut, that's peshita. Right? He couldn't be talking about that cases because that's 50-50. Right? He's only talking about a case. So therefore, according to Shemuel, basically every case, unless there's no possibility, then 0 possibility, then you wouldn't save. Okay. I would have thought since it left its place, now you follow the Rov. Kamash malan de lo halechu bepikol nefesh for saving a life. We don't follow the Rov. Even if there's 10% chance, we still violate Shabbat to save the person. That is Shemuel's thesis. We're going to challenge it from a couple of different places. Ini, is that true? This is the statement in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Truth is, Shemuel, the same generation as Rabbi Yochanan. He could disagree with him. But okay, we don't want them to disagree, so we're going to try to reconcile them. And he said, Tisha goyim v'Yisrael echad, 9 non-Jews, 1 Jew. Be'otah chaser mefakechin. And they're in the same place. Then you dig them out on Shabbat. Okay, that makes sense because it's kavua, so it's half-half. But if they went to another place and it fell there, and mefakichin, we do not save them. So this contradicts what we just said, right? Shemuel said you do save them no matter what, in both cases. So what's the explanation? Lakashya. When Shemuel said it's permitted, that's when all 10 people went to the second place, the store. So now, and it fell on them. You know for sure there's 1 Jew under there. So then you got to do it. But Rabbi Yochanan is talking about a case where just a few people, maybe 3 people left and went to the other place. So then, I don't know. In that case, I do follow the majority and would not save them. Okay, that's pretty harsh. Okay, it's harsh. It's harsh no matter what. But that's the resolution. That's a way to resolve the two statements. Okay. Hold on. Did Shmuel really say this? There's another Mishnah that says Masa bat tinok mushlach. You find a child abandoned in a city. We don't know who his parents are. Rov goyim goy. If the majority of people that live in the city are not Jewish, we assume the kid is not Jewish. Rov Yisrael, Israel, majority Jewish, we assume the kid is Jewish. Mechsa mechesa, exactly equal. Israel, we'll assume he's Jewish. Good. Now, for what law? This is only to keep him alive, to feed him. Let's say Shabbat, you have to take care of him. But in terms of yichus, in terms of marriage laws, no, we're not gonna assume. Right. Okay. Now, besides that, Ushmuel Amar lefekeach et hagal. Shmuel said regarding that Mishnah that this applies to saving his life on Shabbat if something fell on him. And so this seems to be a contradiction. That it looks like if it's half and half, then it looks like if it's majority not Jewish, then we assume he's a goy, and therefore we don't save him. Hold on, Shemuel, you just said that we don't follow the majority, and it's in its place, right? It fell there. So why would you not save him? This Mishnah seems to contradict what you said. Answer, ki itamar Shemuel aresha itamar. His statement is actually going on the resha, not the sefa, was as follows: Im rov goyim goy. Amar Shemuel, ulam pikuach nefesh enoken. If the majority of the city is Jewish, we assume that is not Jewish. We assume that he's not Jewish. He said that's true regarding other things, like for marriage laws, but regarding saving a life, that's not true. So when he said not true, he meant about. So you are saving him, and therefore that fits with Shemuel's opinion that for safek nefashot, we don't go by the majority, even a 1% chance that you could save a Jewish life, we nevertheless save them. Baruch Adonai Olam, Amen, Amen.